You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined, I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing, this country would make one hell of a lot of money.
Now, we have nothing. We have nothing. Is Donald Trump a serious candidate? The reason I ask this is, if you're going to close the internet, realize, America, what that entails. That entails getting rid of the First Amendment, okay? It's no small feat. If you are going to kill the families of terrorists, realize that there's something called the Geneva Convention we're going to have to pull out of. So when you ask yourself, whoever you are that think you're going to support Donald Trump, think, do you believe in the Constitution?
We will build a wall that works, and I'll get Donald Trump to pay for it.
I'll build it.
Dana.
Thank you. Senator Rubio, please.
Yeah, a couple points.
This is another example of the lack of seriousness. Look, this is troubling because we're at war. They've declared war on us, and we need to have a serious strategy to destroy ISIS. But the idea that that is a solution to this is just crazy. It makes no sense to suggest this. Look, 2 months ago, Donald Trump said that ISIS was not our fight, just 2 months ago. He said that Hillary Clinton would be a great negotiator with Iran.
Donald J. Trump would be disqualified. Because Donald's mother was born in Scotland. She was naturalized. Now, Donald,
But I was born here.
On the issue of citizenship, Donald.
Big difference.
On the issue of citizenship, Donald, I'm not going to use your mother's birth against you.
Okay, good. Because it wouldn't work.
You're an American, as is everybody else on this stage, and I would suggest we focus on who's best prepared to be commander-in-chief, because that's the most important question facing the country.
Mr. Trump, did he address that? Did you raise this because of his rising poll?
Well, let me just tell you something, and you know because you just saw the numbers yourself. NBC Wall Street Journal just came out with a poll. Headline, Trump way up, Cruz going down. I mean, so don't, so you can't, they don't like the Wall Street Journal, they don't like NBC, but I like the poll. And frankly, it just came out. And in Iowa now, as you know, Ted, in the last 3 polls, I'm beating you. So, you know, you shouldn't misrepresent how well you're doing with the polls. You don't have to say that. In fact, I was all for you until you started doing that, because that's a misrepresentation. Number one. Number two, this isn't me saying it. I don't care. I think I'm going to win fair and square. I don't have to win this way. Thank you. Lawrence Tribe and numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay? There are other attorneys that feel, and very, very fine constitutional attorneys, that feel that because he was not born on the land, he cannot run for office. Here's the problem. We're running. He does great. I win. I choose him as my vice presidential candidate, and the Democrats sue because we can't take him along for some. See, they don't like that. They don't like that. But, no, they don't like that he beats the rest of the field because they want me. But if for some reason, Neil, he beats the rest of the field, I already know the Democrats are going to be bringing a suit. You have a big lawsuit over your head while you're running, and if you become the nominee, who the hell knows if you can even serve in office? So you should go out, get a declaratory judgment, let the courts decide, and you shouldn't have mentioned the polls, because I would have been much different.
Why now? Why are you?
What Donald Trump did was use eminent domain to try to take the property of an elderly woman on the Strip in Atlantic City. That is not public purpose. That is downright wrong. And here's the problem with that.
All right, okay.
The problem was it was to tear down. It was to
Jeb
tear
wants
down.
to be. He wants
it
to be
was
a
to
tough guy.
tear
He wants to
down-
be a tough guy
It
tonight.
was to tear down
I didn't
the
take
house,
the property.
and the net
I
result
didn't-
was you tried.
I didn't
and
take
you
the
lost
property.
in the court.
The woman ultimately didn't want to do that.
That is not true.
And
the
it was
simple
great that
fact
I
is,
didn't.
to turn this into a limousine parking lot for his casinos is not a public use. And in Florida, based on what we did, we made that impossible. It is part of our Constitution. That's the better approach. That is the conservative approach.
Mr. Trump, take 30
Well,
seconds.
let me just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times, you'll have, and it doesn't work very well with
How
them.
tough is it
a
to
lot
take
of
away
times,
property from
let
an
me
elderly
talk,
woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough
a lot
is
of
it?
times, a lot of times, that's all of his donors and special interests out there. So, that's what it is. That's what, and by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for the, I'm talking about to the television audience? Donors, special interest, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that. Eminent domain, the Keystone Pipeline, do you consider that a private job?
I consider it a public use.
No, let me ask you, Jeb. Do you consider the Keystone Pipeline private? Is it public or private?
It's a public use.
Oh, really? A public use? No,
Yeah.
it's a private job.
It's a public use.
It's a private
Established
job.
by the courts, federal, state
You
courts.
wouldn't have the Keystone Pipeline that you want so badly without eminent domain.
All right, gentlemen,
Exactly.
You
I
wouldn't
agree.
have massive, excuse me, Josh, you wouldn't have massive factories without eminent domain.
You want to talk about weakness? It's weak to disparage women. It's
don't
weak to
disparage.
disparage Hispanics.
I don't disparage.
It's weak. It's weak to denigrate the disabled. And it's really weak to call John McCain a loser because he was a
I never
POW.
called him. No, I don't call
That
him
is
a-
outrageous. He's an American hero.
He also
simple
said
fact
about
is,
language.
I've laid out
Excuse me.
my plans
He said
as it
about
relates to
language. For
immigration.
language. 2 days ago, he said he would take his pants off and moon everybody, and that's fine. Nobody reports that. He gets up and says that, and then he tells me, "Oh, my language was a little bit rough."
Okay.
My language.
Governor Kasich.
Give me a break.
Governor Kasich. Governor Kasich.
Very, very liberal. For most of his life, he has described himself as very pro-choice and as a supporter of partial birth abortion. Right now, today, as a candidate, he supports federal taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. I disagree with him on that. That's a matter of principle,
You
and
are
I'll
the single
tell you.
biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
All right.
This guy lied. Let me just tell you, this guy lied about Ben Carson when he took votes away from Ben Carson in Iowa, and he just continues. This guy will say anything. Nasty guy. Now I know why he doesn't have one endorsement from any of his colleagues.
All right, John, I
Senator
get to
Cruz, pick
respond.
from the buffet there.
He's a nasty guy.
Donald has this weird pattern. When you point to his own record, he screams, liar, liar, liar. If you want to go
Where did
and
I support
watch-
it? Where did I
if you
support
want
it?
to go
Hey, Ted,
and watch,
where did I
if you
support
want to
it?
go and watch the video, go to our website,
Ted,
tedcruz.org.
where
You
did I
can see
support it, Ted?
out
Now, don't
of
tell me about
Donald's
a
own
video.
mouth. When we
Where
were
did I support it?
You supported it when we were battling over defunding Planned Parenthood. You went on
That's a
television
lot
and
of
said
nonsense.
Planned Parenthood does wonderful things and we should not defund
Oh,
them.
it does do wonderful
And-
things,
and-
but not as it relates to abortion.
So tell
They
me, what
do
are the
some-
wonderful
excuse
things?
me,
What are the wonderful
excuse
things it
me.
does?
There are wonderful things having to do with women's health.
You see,
but
you and I
not when it
disagree on
comes
that.
to abortion.
That's and
not
John,
when it comes
the
to
reason
abortion.
principle matters.
That's where I draw
John,
line.
the reason
Let me
how
tell
I know
you.
that.
Hold on, gentlemen.
Ted
I'm going to
Cruz
turn this
wanted
car around.
John Roberts, Ted Cruz, with your brother, wanted John Roberts to be in the United States Supreme Court. They both pushed him. He twice approved Obamacare.
All right, gentlemen.
Good going, man.
My name was
Hold on. We're
my name was mentioned twice.
well, hold on. We're going to, gentlemen. We're in danger of driving this into the dirt.
I did not nominate John Roberts. I would not have nominated
You
John
pushed
Roberts.
him. You
I
pushed him.
supported
You
him
worked
once
with
he
him
was
and you
appointed.
pushed him. Why do you lie?
Donald,
Why do you
adults
lie?
learn not to interrupt
can we
each
move
other.
Why do you lie?
Donald learned.
You pushed him.
Donald, adults learn not to interrupt each other.
Yeah, I know. You're an
All
adult.
right. If he builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers, he'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it. The second,
So cute.
the,
Such a cute soundbite. But here's the guy that buys a house for $179,000. He sells it to a lobbyist who's probably here for $380,000, and then legislation is passed. You tell me about this guy. This is what we're going to have
Here's
as
the guy
president?
that inherited $200 million. If he hadn't inherited $200 million, you know where Donald Trump would be right now? Selling watches in Manhattan.
I have to say,
Senator
he lied
Cruz.
this time. He lied. 100%. 100%.
Senator
You lied about the Polish workers.
Yeah.
You lied to the
30
students of
38
Trump
years ago.
University.
38
Senator
years
Cruz
ago.
Oh,
jump
he
in,
lied
please.
38 years ago. All right, I guess there's a statute of limitation on lies.
And I don't know if anybody watched last night's debate. It got very big ratings. And you know what? Mini Mike didn't do well last night. I was going to send him a note saying, it's not easy doing what I do, is it? How about Klobuchar? Did you see her? She choked. She choked. She couldn't breathe. Alfred E. Newman looked at her and said something slightly derogatory. And she said, are you accusing me of being dumb? Who would make a statement like that? Because that's really what he was doing, but he doesn't want to say that. Alfred E. Newman, Buttigieg. Little Buttigieg. I said, I've had you up to here. They had little Buttigieg leading Donald Trump in Texas, these people. How about Sleepy Joe? How about his performance? What? It's great to be. It's great to be with the great people of Ohio. Joe, you're in Iowa. Oh, he did it 5 times. Bloomberg made a fool out of himself last night. He choked. He's another one. He's going, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Don't ask me the question, please. I look at my wife, I said, let's send him a little note. It's not so easy up there to do what I did, right? I did great in the debates. I became president because of the debates, because unlike Mini Mike, I could answer questions. Look, you're going to vote for one of these people, probably Crazy Bernie. He seems to be leading. Mini Mike, I thought he might come up, but he can't because he can't debate. He wasn't meant for the camera, do we agree? He wasn't exactly great last night. You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan
Folks,
absolutely
folks, do you have any idea what this clown's doing?
They call it
Do you have any do?
socialized medicine.
Mr. President. I'll tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care. Because he, in fact, already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession.